What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bills Mafia Time to Shine on the Buffalo Rumblings vidcast network. I'm your host. My name is Joe Miller. You can find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. It's good to have you guys on this evening before the Buffalo Bills face the New Jersey Jets. We are live right now, and you do have the opportunity to comment and chat with me. You can even jump over and super chat with me, but you don't have to do that in this show. This is not as much as people can super chat. If you want to bless me, you can. But what we want you to do is I want you to jump on and I want you to spend a couple minutes with me live. So I've just pushed out, if you will, across every single platform, the link to basically join me in the green room and then jump on with me live. This show is about you. This show is about the Mafia. This show is about how you feel about tomorrow's game, how you feel about the season so far, how you feel about the playoffs, whatever you want to talk about this evening, whatever you want to talk about during the show, I'm here for it. Until then, right now, so far, as they would say on the radio, the lines are open. There's nobody backstage. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of get into some notes. But before I do that, whatever platform you are watching or listening to on, please do me a favor, like and subscribe, especially if you are on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Buffalo Rumblings. Also, like this show. It gets our metrics up. That's the little thumbs up. So jump on that little thumb. And then if you feel so inclined, hit the bell. And what will happen is every time Buffalo Rumblings goes live, so for instance, right after this show, is the Chop Up with Jay Spence the King. And then tomorrow at 9 o'clock live is the Overreaction post-game show with myself. Monday, 9 o'clock is the Off Tackle with John Fina show. Tuesday, Code of Conduct. Wednesday, Hump Day Hotline. You kind of get the picture right here. But what'll happen is you'll get notified, which is always kind of nice when great content is right there at your fingertips. So, but it's super good to be here with the Mafia. JR's in the room. Richard Rush is in the room. It's good to see you guys. Lone Wolf is in the room. David Reed, how you doing, buddy? Reservoir Dog is in the room. It's good to see all of you guys. Got some lurkers out there too that have not yet revealed themselves. Good to have all of you. But let's talk about this football game. The AFC. Oh, Amanda Davey just showed up. What's up, Amanda? And there's Daniel Gowers. Good to see you. The AFC East leading 10-6 Buffalo Bills are set to face the AFC East basement-dwelling New Jersey Jets in the final game of the regular season tomorrow. A game in which the Buffalo Bills need to win in order to make sure to assure themselves the division title for the second straight season. Meanwhile, you better believe the Jets would like nothing more in this football game than to play spoiler to the Bills and basically ruin their chances. If the Bills lose in this game and the Patriots win, the Patriots win the East at that point. So, and it changes kind of the road, the path to the playoffs for the Bills. So this game is critically important for the Buffalo Bills. It doesn't mean they won't make the playoffs. They've already clinched a spot, as have the Patriots. However, if they lose, then they could be bounced out of that AFC East leading position. So with that, it's going to be 40 degrees tomorrow and raining at the start of this football game, which is surprising to me because it's been low 20s, high teens, low 20s for the last couple of days. So it's going to warm up to 40 degrees tomorrow at the start of the game. And then it's going to start getting cold from there. Cold again, if you will. Cooling off and turning to snow before the end of the game, before the game's over. The Bills find themselves hosting a team at home with, once again, the weather most likely playing a rather large factor in the outcome of this football game. The Bills last week found the ground game against a very bad Falcons team, rushing for 233 yards and 4 touchdowns in a game where the Bills completely, and I talked about this in the post-game show, They completely abandoned the pass. We have not seen the Buffalo Bills do that, even in crazy high wind, like hurricane force wind games, of which Josh Allen has played in 2. One this season against the Patriots, and then one a couple years ago against Carson Wentz and the Eagles here at home. The Bills never have done that before, and they did that in that game against the Falcons, and it worked. It paid off. They found the ground game. Devin Singletary was dominant. Josh Allen was dominant. Even Zach Moss, when he got in, was super efficient. It'll be interesting to see if the Bills can maybe, build on that, get it to a position where when they want it, when they need it, they're still able to do it. That's what we'll all be looking for, not only in this football game, but probably going forward, right? We need to see some efficiency out of that run game versus just running into the back of some of our own players or running into the back, basically running into a brick wall. Regardless, this football game should be interesting, especially if the staff got through to Josh Allen about the velocity of his passes in cold weather games. Josh Allen needs to be in a position where he's giving wide receivers a chance to catch the football, and many times last week, he just did not do that. This game is going to be another one of those games. Wet, chilly, snow on the horizon, snow on its way in. He can't be firing 90-mile-an-hour fastballs at some of these wide receivers. It's just not going to work. He's got to find touch. He's got to find rhythm. He's got to find it early, and he's got to basically put this Jets team in a position where they're chasing the Bills the whole way, and they never effectively have a true shot at even being a part of the game. The last meeting between these two teams was the Mike White game. You remember that guy, right? Do you guys remember Mike White? No? It doesn't matter. Allen in that football game threw for 366 yards, 2 touchdowns as the Bills beat the Jets 45-17. This, however, I expect, as I'm sure you do as well, to be a very different football game. Number one, Zach Wilson is going to be playing in this football game. Now, we have not seen Zach Wilson yet. Zach Wilson has been, let's just be honest for a minute, Zach Wilson has been a rookie quarterback. He's had some decent moments, he's had some flashes, and he's had some pretty bad play as well at the same time. Divisional opponents also are always hard games. It doesn't matter who the divisional opponent is, it's always a tough game. As we just saw, the Broncos had a legitimate shot at beating the Kansas City Chiefs at home for the first time, I think beating them for the first time in 12 or 13 games. But the Broncos had no, I mean, on paper, if you look at those two teams, the Broncos have no business being in a game that difficult with the Chiefs. However, they led that game for a while, and then they let up at the end. The reality is they had a chance. Divisional opponents are always super, super hard. I expect this to be one of those games as well. Rookie Zach Wilson, we were just talking about. He's a 30th ranked QB in the league. That, of course, is with some, missing some games. He's got 2,247 yards passing, 56% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 69.9 rating as a quarterback. It's not great. It's not great. The rookie has struggled this year, and he's not the only rookie. A lot of rookies have struggled this year. He's definitely one of them. They will be facing, however, the Jets, that is, the number 1 Buffalo Bills defense, number 1 in yards per game, yards allowed, passing yards per game, and number 2 in points allowed per game, only behind the New England Patriots. The challenge for the Jets is real, but not impossible. As the Bills have largely played to the level of their opponents this season, it'll be interesting to see how they come out in this game from jump. Do they come out with urgency? Do they come out a little bit flat? We've seen a lot of flat football through the season the last couple weeks since the basically halftime in the Tampa game. It's been a lot different. But keep in mind, before we're riding around on our confident horse, this Jets team is the team that beat the number 1 seeded Titans, the number 3 seeded Bengals, who just beat the Chiefs, who are the number 2 seed, and they took the Buccaneers straight down to the wire last week. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. Bills don't take this football game seriously, and they lack that sense of urgency early. They could find themselves in a difficult situation on the scoreboard in a weather game where, let's be honest, it's not going to be that conducive to an aerial, quote-unquote, come-from-behind assault. The Bills need to take care of business early. They need to do what they came to do, if that makes any sense. Good news is the Bills are largely healthy. We'll be returning Rick Bates back to the lineup. So we should see what has been, to this point, probably in the last couple of years, our best offensive line configuration against one of the better defensive lines in the league, to include Quentin Williams. And to me, this is going to be a pretty good earmark for what we might see through the playoffs from this offensive line. If they can handle the pressure from the Jets, both in just their front and their mixed blitz packages, my guess is this offensive line stands to do pretty well through this playoff run. Not to mention, if we're being honest, if you think back to it, Allen generally does a pretty good job of getting angry in those games when he doesn't play too well. And let's be honest, last week he didn't play great as a passer. Was his passer rating 17 or something crazy? 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Generally speaking, he finds a way to build off of whatever it was that he was doing wrong the week before. So if I had to pick somebody, a quarterback in this game, I'm picking Josh Allen for that reason alone. Josh Allen has that moxie about him as far as that goes. One last point of note, the Jets will be without Braxton Berrios in this game, most likely. He's doubtful at this point. But yeah, so those are the quick notes. And I got somebody in the green room. If you're ready there, E-Rock. What's up, my guy? Welcome into the show.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Good. It's been a minute.
Oh, dropped my phone.
It happens, dude. It happens. How are you, bud?
Doing good.
Yeah. What? How's the New Year treating you so far? I haven't seen you. I know you've been in and around. I just haven't seen you live. You haven't joined me in a couple weeks. So how's the New Year treating you?
So far, so good. Can't complain.
Yeah. Well, that's good. How? What are you looking forward to as far as this football game goes?
Well, I know a lot of people were thinking that, the whole draft and everything was to beat the Chiefs, but everything we heard from McDermott and Brandon Beane was about winning the division. So I don't expect them to take this game lightly.
Yeah.
They can win the division when they win this game. And I think they're going to go out there to win this game, to win the division, because they want to have that first home game in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's interesting when you look at the football game last week and I know we got a super chat. I'll come back to that in a second. You lost, came in and said, Greg Cosell broke down Allen's performance against the Falcons and said the interceptions weren't on Allen. And while that's true, they weren't necessarily. Beasley was contacted illegally in his route when he broke his route off. That should have been a penalty. The other two were tipped. The reality is one or two of those balls he forced. He probably should have thrown it away. But what do you make of Allen's performance last week, them abandoning the pass? I'm sorry, completely. What do you make of that? And what do you see from Allen this week?
Well, I think with last week, what you saw when them breaking with the passing is, making a second half adjustment.
Yeah.
And the running game was working. It was hot. So why stop?
Right.
A lot of teams, when the Colts played us, they did the same thing. They were going to run it until we could stop it, and we never did stop it. So that's why they ran it. So I think that's kind of what last week was, but I don't expect to see the same thing this week. I do think Singletary will easily get 100 yards rushing on the ground.
Easily.
Because playing hot.
Easily. Keep in mind, he's only done it twice since November 24th of 2019.
I think that's what this week is all going to be all about, is to kind of more establish that run game going into the playoffs.
That's good. That's a hot take. I like it. Devin Singletary rushing for 100 yards. That's a hot take. Do you see a situation where if it's not Devin, if he's got 80 something, like there's a big game from Zach Moss or Breida or even Allen behind him, or do you have your money all in the Singletary camp? I like it.
I think it's mostly going to be in the Singletary Singletary. Most of the touches will be from him. It's not that I don't like Zach Moss, but he just doesn't have that running back vision. Like in the Patriots game, that should have been a touchdown, and he ran into his own guy. Like that was an easy touchdown, and that was all on him because the lane was right there for him to get that touchdown. So I think he'll get some limited touches, but
it was weird because outside of last week, last week he played well. He was kind of a benefactor of Singletary's performance as well, and Allen's performance. He was finding some lanes and open holes. He was cutting away from. He runs to contact is like what everybody likes to say. Everybody likes to say that Zach Moss runs to contact versus trying to find holes and gaps in the defense and running through those. When you're in college and you're facing much smaller linebackers and much smaller defensive backs, you can run a contact. In the NFL, you just can't do it because the defensive backs, even at 5'9", 5'11", are tackling machines like Dane Jackson, like Tre'Davious White. And even Levi Wallace is a great tackler. So I like that first hot take. What do you got as far as just a prediction in this football game?
If the Bills, have like a comfortable lead, I definitely think in the fourth quarter they're going to probably sit out a lot of the starters. But it all depends on how the game plays out. If it's close, they're all going to play to the end. But I no matter what, they're going to play to win this game. And I don't. I heard someone saying, they might sit the starters in the second half. I don't necessarily see that because I think the division is theirs to win, and they want that.
If it's a 1 or 2 possession game, the starters are not sitting in the second half. They're going to play straight through because you just can't afford to lose this football game. The playoff picture, as much as you're in, which is the point, you're trying to get to the playoffs. the whole playoff picture flips on a tier if you don't win the AFC East. They've got to win this football game. So what do you got for Josh Allen's stat line tomorrow in this what looks to be not the best weather?
He'll probably rush for probably at least 50 yards in this game too, I'd imagine. I don't foresee him having a high yards count. I think he's going to, he'll pick his spots, but I think he'll manage the game pretty well. And I think he'll probably rebound from last week.
Any yards?
Blip in the radar.
Yards prediction. You said 50 yards rushing. Did you say yards through the air?
I'll say 250.
250. It's not bad. I'd take that, especially if the weather is as bad as we think. To me, it's going to be really much depend on and rely on him not trying to fire the football as fast as he can, as hard as he can at receivers. But final score prediction?
I'm going to say 31-13.
Nice. I like that score. If that happens, they're sitting guys in the second half.
Yeah.
Unless they get two touchdowns in like the last 5 minutes of the game. If that's the score, they're definitely sitting people in the second half.
I do have one other take.
I was just going to ask you anything else you wanted to say.
Going into the playoffs, how many run-heavy teams have won a Super Bowl in the last 20 years?
20?
And why? 20? And the reason why since like the 2000s, it's a passing league, and with all the competition in the AFC, it's going to come down to the Bills, the Chiefs, and maybe the Bengals, depending how hot they are. We'll see where well they fare in the playoffs. All these teams are run-heavy teams. They're not going to win a Super Bowl with a run-heavy team. It's not going to happen.
It's a great question, and the skew, right? There's a skew factor because of the Patriots. So if the Patriots won whatever it was, 6 or 7 championships with Tom Brady, who people are going to argue whether Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time or Peyton Manning. It's one of those two. The reality is every year that Tom Brady won a championship, he had an amazing running game. They weren't amazing runners. It wasn't like LaDainian Tomlinson was behind him.
Right.
I mean, or exactly. anybody fantastic, but the Patriots were able to, and always have been able to, including this year, run the football and run it effectively. So yeah, to your point, I mean, they've never had a Jonathan Taylor necessarily. I mean, they won a Super Bowl with Antoine Smith, for goodness sakes. And Antoine was not right here. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things, but it's a good point. It's valid. It's good. It is a passing league. We're going to find out. We're going to find out in the next.
It's going to come down to the best quarterbacks.
Yeah, from the AFC seed pool all the way through the wild card and even some of the teams in the hunt, they're about as closely matched and tightly packed as they could possibly be. There's no clear cut front runner. That's just the Bengals have played well, but that's the last couple of weeks, and it's because of Jamar Chase. But E-Rock, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you being a part of the show. As always, dude, I just appreciate you just contributing and making this fun for me and fun for all the guys. So yeah, enjoy this football game tomorrow, dude. And thanks for being on the show with me.
Go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills, dude. Talk to you later. So yeah, that's E-Rock. He's my guy. He's all the way, always around. This is, we got a super chat. Sorry, McNizzle, about getting to this late, but you threw it up there just as E-Rock was coming on. So sometimes I guess I could take him with the guests on. I don't know. Maybe I will. So McNizzle says, hey, Joe, just got my tickets to the wild card game. The only team I hope we won't see in that game is Indy. I have no idea, dude. Like, legit. Spence and I were talking about this on Wednesday. It was one of the questions, who would you prefer to see? Who do you not want to see? It's a toss-up. I can give you a reason to want to see every team. I can, including the Chiefs. That defense is suspect. Kelsey just limped off the football field. And Pat Mahomes, I tweeted this out. That there's something about Pat Mahomes and like throwing the football. If Josh Allen misfires a football and throws the football in the dirt or 3 yards or 5 yards away from somebody into the ground, basically the first thing the color guy or the analyst says is, wow, that was a really bad pass from Josh Allen. When Pat Mahomes throws the same ball 4 times in a football game, every single time they're like, yeah, I'm just looking to see if that ball came out of his hand kind of funny. Like there's no reason he would ever do this. And he does it 4 and 5 times a game. Regardless, to answer the question, I could literally come up with a reason to see why I would want to play against every team. And I could come up with a reason why I don't want to play every team. Colts, for instance, Jonathan Taylor, don't want to play them because of Jonathan Taylor. I do want to play them because Carson Wentz is their quarterback. Like Chiefs. So, I mean, I could do it with all of them. like legit. And I appreciate that, McNizzle. Thank you for being a part of the show. Next guy into the program is my guy, David Reed. David, what's up, brother?
What's going on, buddy?
How's the new year treating you?
So far so good. How about you?
I cannot complain. So the weather has been winter, which is nice. So it seems like we're getting an actual winter this year. We're not supposed to get a ton of snow, as per the experts, as far as through the winter season, but it's nice. It's always a little weird to me when it's January, like end of January, and 45 and raining, and like the lake isn't frozen. It's like the lake's supposed to be frozen and it's supposed to be cold.
I'll take that over 15 degree any day, though.
Yeah, it's weird because I wear hoodies. Are you wearing a hoodie now? Are you a hoodie guy? Do you like put on the big giant jacket?
I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania, and it's like 20 degrees here right now.
Yeah. Well, that's the other misnomer, is that somehow it's colder in Buffalo than any other place. It's like 24 here as well. But so I basically hoodie, like I'll go out and shovel the driveway in the morning with like jeans and a hoodie on, or shorts. So if I'm going to the gym, I'm in shorts and a hoodie because I'm getting ready to go to the gym, and I'm out there shoveling the snow.
I don't even wear a winter jacket. I wear a hoodie all year long.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. So it's just sorry. Total rabbit trail sidebar. I apologize. How are you feeling about this football game tomorrow, bro?
I'm not nervous at all. Honestly, we should go in there and handle business, pretty easily. If we don't, then we have an issue, right? Then we got something to worry about.
Yeah, for sure.
Not really worried about the weather. I was at the Texans game earlier this year, and that was a monsoon. And I mean, look what we did to them, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to piggyback off what E-Rock said. I do think they want to get that run game going, but I think it's going to be the exact opposite. I think they're going to want to get Moss going more, maybe to rest Singletary a little bit, keep him a little safe for the playoffs. I mean, but you got to see what you got out of Moss too, right?
Yeah.
If you can use him in the playoffs. If you can't, we're going to let him go. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw something where Antonio Williams was signed.
Re-signed back to the practice squad, yeah.
Oh, it wasn't the roster. I thought it was the roster.
Yeah, back to the practice squad. But you bring up a good point. I mean, they've got 2 third-round picks that are basically, arguably, RB2s, even though Singletary has really come to life the last couple weeks. But they're going to have to find out. There's a good chance. There's no way Breed is coming back to this football team. In my opinion, Breed is probably gone.
Right.
And they're going to have to make a decision. I mean, do you keep Moss and Singletary and look for that RB1? Is it Singletary and you look for a change of pace guy that's a little bit faster? I mean, there's a good chance 2 of these 3 guys aren't on this roster next year, right?
I full-heartedly believe we have to look for RB1. There's no doubt in my mind that the 2 biggest needs this year are going to be the O-line and a running back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a hot take that even like Spence and I haven't talked a whole lot about, is just as far as, I mean, we haven't really got there yet. I mean, we're coming on the close. This is the last game of the season. So this is where all these conversations are going to go. It's tough because I watched that. I've got the football game on in front of me right now, the Eagles and Cowboys game, and the Eagles just scored. But I watched that Broncos game, and it's just like, man, how nice would it have been to have Javonte Williams, right? At 30. What does this offense look like with Javonte? I can tell you the defense doesn't look much different right now, at least without Greg Rousseau. Now, I love Greg Rousseau and the potential that's there. And who knows, in 4 years, we might be like, thank God we picked that guy. But this year, Javonte Williams probably makes that offense a little bit better, right?
Yeah, I mean, Rousseau's had some flashes. Basham, to me, was kind of a waste of a pick. We haven't really seen much of him or anything out of him. I feel like we could have done something else with that pick, but, I mean, that's neither here or there, right? It's already done and over with.
Yeah, we'll see. They're both developmental players. We thought the Basham would hit the ground running a little bit more. Rousseau came in ready to play, which was great. And there was some rookie wall stuff. McDermott talked about it in his press conference as far as just some rookie wall stuff for Groot a little bit this year.
And, they could be taking this time developing him. I mean, how much longer is Hughes going to stick around?
Right. And that's exactly right, too. So this roster has the opportunity to look a lot different next year than it looks right now.
Right.
At many, many levels. So tomorrow, weather. Josh Allen coming off a bad performance. Singletary, obviously, getting hot. What are you looking forward to in this game tomorrow?
Smart decisions. I honestly, I'm afraid Josh is going to play a little cautious, because of what happened last week. Kind of don't need him to. I think it's more, I want it to be a practice scrimmage, but I want him to take it seriously at the same time.
Yeah.
As far as the whole conversation with who do we want to see in the playoffs and this and that and the other, honestly, Harrison Phillips has been coming on pretty good as of late.
Yeah,
I don't know if stars right there next to him. So the run game is not. Don't get me wrong. I'm still definitely afraid of anybody with a heavy run game like Indy, but the last 2 weeks have made me feel a little bit more comfortable. But I'm going to tell you right now, the team I want is the Patriots.
Yeah, give me a reason. Give me your reasons.
It's the media and the fans, man. That's the reason. Shut them the hell up. I'm so tired of hearing this the last couple weeks.
Well, we got to be the media.
They're better than us.
The media's flipped. The media's flipped. So the one dude, I can't remember his name on ESPN, that was basically crowning Mac Jones as the next coming of Tom Brady. And oh, by the way, he's got like intangibles that the NFL's never seen before. This week said, if I'm trusting either team in the NFL or in the playoffs between those two, I'm trusting the Bills, and it's because of Josh Allen. And it's like 3 weeks ago, bro. Like 3 weeks ago, that is not what you were saying.
I would have to say the only reason I wouldn't want to see the Patriots is because I feel like they're going to make that the Monday night game.
Yeah, yeah.
Be there, and nobody wants that Monday night game.
No, nobody. Well, they're going to have a short week the next week. It's a little bit unfair when you're talking about the playoffs as far as that goes. But
he played today, and now they're going to get an extra day's rest going into the first week of the playoffs, right?
So are the Cowboys. Yep. So and the Eagles technically, as far as that goes, but it'll be interesting to see. So this game does not have you nervous, which is great. The Bills, you believe, are going to come out with urgency and take care of business, which if they do, then E-Rock's prediction could be right. High 30s, low teens game for the Jets. Maybe the Bills are sitting some starters in the second half and resting some guys. Predictions as far as any bold predictions for this football game, breakouts besides Singletary?
Like I said, my bold prediction is they use Moss a lot more than Singletary.
Gotcha.
I'd love to see Trubisky play the whole fourth quarter if we're up by that much. But I think it's going to be more of a slow and steady, just get to the end of the game.
Yeah.
They're not going to try and do too much. So the Allen stats are probably going to be somewhere around 270, maybe 40 yards rushing.
Nice. To me, that's enough.
Don't make any mistakes.
Yeah, that's enough. That to me, that's enough in this game. If that happens, that's enough, right? For Josh or for the Bills to win the game. We
should have handled Atlanta, and we saw what happened. So just don't do that again. Just get through the game, just win the game, and let's get into the playoffs.
Gotcha. What do you got for score prediction before I let you go?
27-10 Bills.
27-10 Bills. I like it. But I would take that all day long. To me, that's another one of the situations where if it's 24-10, in third quarter, the Bills are sitting guys in the fourth quarter, and that they get a field goal out of it. That'd be freaking fantastic, especially if this is going to be some sort of a weird weather game, which hopefully it won't be. But any final closing thoughts? No, let's just get through the week and go full steam into the playoffs, man. Let's get it. Awesome. I don't know why I'm having internet connectivity issues, but hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, David, you the man. I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy that football game. I'll see you tomorrow night. Post game, 9:00. Go Bills. Go Bills. I like it. I love the confidence from the Mafia. I don't know if I'm in a situation where I'm just like, I'm not nervous at all, but this is a game the Bills should win. It should be tough. It should be a hard fought win. I don't expect it to be like the Bills Dolphins game last year where the Bills came out and throttled them. 50, whatever it was, 53 or 57-10, or I can't remember the number, but it was crazy. Pam and Donna, you're on deck, by the way, just in case you're wondering. So I see you lurking back there in the green room behind your camera. But we got Pamela coming up here in a second. But to me, it's not about fear. It's about just expectation. And my expectations this year have been tempered fiercely from what I thought the Bills were going to do, who I thought they were going to be, the team I thought they were going to be, versus what we've seen kind of week in, week out, which, and I said it in the open of the show, playing down to the level of their opponent or up to the level of their opponent. They very much played to the level of their opponents, and that's what I don't want to see from this football game. I have no idea why all these Russian bots are finding my show all of a sudden. This is so weird. And it won't let me block it. Oh, somebody else already did it. So thank you, Daniel, for for blocking that message. If it comes back, I'll see if I can ban them from here. A little strange. It doesn't happen on my show, the Fina Show. It doesn't. Well, I guess we did have one on the Fina Show. It doesn't happen on the Humpty Hotline. I haven't seen it happen on Jay Spence's show or the Food for Thought. But for some reason, this show Saturday night, I get Russian bots. Really strange. Let's do this. Let's right now bring in the one, the only Pamela, who's empty screen. So I bring her on live and I get an empty screen. Oh, look at you guys having your own little party and nobody got invited.
Because you were doing your show.
Well, I am doing it. I could have done it from your house.
I was thinking about that when I went to Hamburg to pick up Aaron.
Aaron,
Kathy's here.
Say hi, Kathy. Hello.
Oh, you guys are having your own your pregame. You got a pregame go. You guys realize that it's not till 4:25 tomorrow, so go slow. Go slow. Aaron,
like 16.
Aaron, where in Hamburg do you live?
She doesn't.
Oh,
she's staying there.
Oh, you're staying in Hamburg. Gotcha. Because I live in Hamburg, so that's why I asked. Yeah, I live in Lakeview. But welcome into the show. Is it three of you, or is there somebody else lurking behind the camera?
No.
Just just the three of you. Well, what are you either collectively or individually looking forward to in this game? What are you talking about tonight? So when you're looking into this football game, what do you talk like? What are the things that you guys are saying together as a group tonight?
Well, I want to see a blowout. I know you don't think there could be, but I don't know. There could be, but the Jets are coming on strong. So,
well, that's how I feel. I can't underestimate them. I mean, I think we were talking about that earlier this week on your show, but we can't underestimate them, and we got to come out strong. They seem to be very strong in their first half, and at many of their games, I think the Jets, and then so we need to come out strong right out of the gate like we did last week, because usually we wait till the second half. So
the only reason I said that I don't necessarily see a blowout is just because, generally speaking, right, in divisional games, like teams that you're in division, that doesn't really happen. What we saw against the Dolphins last year, it was strange for a lot of reasons. Number one, because the Dolphins came to Buffalo and they were looking to win to make a play to get into the playoffs. Yeah, and they were a divisional team. So what we saw was they were running for the bus by the first quarter. It was strange. So same thing. I mean, the Jets are a cold weather team, so the weather isn't going to affect them too much. But it is a divisional game. This game could get away from the Jets. I mean, the Mike White game got away from them there, 45-17. I'd love to see that too. Going into the playoffs on a high is great, especially if you're becoming the hot team, right? We always talk about the hot team going into the playoffs. Who's the hot team? I would love to see the Bills be kind of like the hot team headed into the playoffs. I like that idea, but what else you guys got for me?
Someone else this week was talking about how, it took us so long to get here. So it's not like we burned out in the first part of the season, right. And then we can just go into the playoffs strong and, powerful like we have been playing lately.
Yeah. This has been definitely a weird season. When you look at last year and the way the Bills rolled, and they rolled everybody for the most part, and the expectation that we had that they were going to do that again this year, and then they didn't, right? And it was a challenge. This year was a fight.
I expected it out of the gate. Yeah.
And I said that
we were just talking about that in the half-hour car ride. Yep. But we were just talking about that. It was like I was saying, it's like this was the first season that I was coming out right off the gate. It was like, this is it. It's gonna be a smooth year. And I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So. I said to Spence on Wednesday, I said, the season has been a battle. It's been like pushing a rock uphill. The playoffs are maybe it makes sense. The playoffs will just be that way too. I just want to see, for me, I need to see urgency from this football team. I need to see them not being conservative. And that's a big fear that I have, that they're going to get to the playoffs very similar to what they did last year and kind of become conservative versus, we've seen.
I think we were conservative the whole season. I think they're just balls out now.
Well, not the whole season. It was the second half, after second halftime in Tampa.
You know what I mean.
And they asked McDermott about it. And McDermott said that we definitely, our preparation changed, how we're doing things changed. So
they're not going to stop doing that, I don't think. They're seeing that they're winning that way.
There's something about the playoffs, though. There's a mystique to the playoffs that for some reason, we're in the playoffs now, and now we can't afford to take chances. And to me,
do you think they've learned their lesson?
You hope?
We'll find no. No. The amount of times that things are just going sideways for a football team, and we, the fans, are like, why isn't Isaiah McKenzie involved? Or why aren't they throwing the football to Cole Beasley? Or why aren't they doing this? And why aren't they in a traditional 4-3 against Jonathan Taylor that's destroying them? And then we hear in the press conference on Monday, Leslie Frazier say things like, we never once considered moving out of the nickel 4-2. Not once. And you're like, how did you not think about it once? And what have we seen since then? The times they've come up against guys that are good running backs, they've been moving to a traditional 4-3, which is a little bit, not wholly, but they've actually been sprinkling it in there to basically stack the box. It's just, so to answer that question, I'm not sure they learn their lesson all the time. I think they get it in their head that This is how we can win. This is what we need to do, and that's kind of where they stick. So let's talk about predictions, ladies. What do you guys think is going to happen in this football game outside of a puppy time? Predictions. Who's going to have a good game tomorrow?
Who's going to have what?
Good game. Give me a good game. So give me a prediction on who's going to break out tomorrow.
Gabe Davis.
I like that. So Gabe Davis, that offense looks a lot different with Gabe Davis in it. Yeah, a lot different. What about you, Pam?
I don't even know. I'm bad at this part. Just like I'm a definite more like after the game. I can talk all night. You're supposed to feel it. It's supposed to be a feeling. Like you rub your hand across the logo, and then you're like, I feel like, right? Gabe Davis is the guy. That's what you're supposed to do. That's okay.
I feel like Josh Allen right here.
I know. That's what I was going to say. Josh, exactly what I was going to say.
I'll take that after the week performance he had. It's funny because that performance last week, 17 passer rating, obviously 3 interceptions that weren't necessarily all his fault. He still played a good game. Like he destroyed them on the ground and owned them.
I think he played a great game. I didn't understand that. I mean, the stats don't always mean everything. Sorry.
Correct. What were you going to say, Aaron?
Yeah, he doesn't need to use the rocket arm every single week. He can do it in other ways, and he can let others do it. And I think that was great to see it last week. I hated the numbers, but I liked the execution.
Gotcha. I agree. So speaking of Josh Allen, give me a stat line prediction from you both.
On Josh or the game?
Josh. And then I'm going to ask you for a final score after that.
Okay.
Oh, well, he's going to throw over 300 yards, I think.
Nice. All right.
Easy. I think he's also going to get at least one rushing touchdown, because he's Superman and he does it all.
He is Superman sometimes. That is for sure. He does do it. He does absolutely do it all. And then what about a final score prediction? So you guys going to go collectively one score or give me 3 different final scores?
Get over here, Kathy.
All right, I'll go. I've already thought about it. 41-21.
Wow. That's yep. Staying with the narrative. Blowout.
I'm going with it, man. I'm going good.
I'm going 24-10, Bills.
I'm saying 27-14.
27-14. I like all those scores because the Bills are winners and they win the AFC East 2 years in a row. So all those scores are great. And the funny thing is, as much as I hate nerve-wracking football games, 41-10 would be kind of nice just to be like by halftime.
The place is going to be popping. It'll be fun. I like it.
Hey, Daniel. I was just seeing who's on here that I know. What's up, Daniel? I don't know anybody else.
You know a lot of people in here. There's a bunch of folks up in here, so that's so funny. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for jumping in. Be safe.
Cheers.
Have a lot of fun tonight. Get that pregame started super early. Go Bills. We'll talk to you guys later. Oh, that's hysterical. So yeah, I love that. So I got one guy, Richard Rush, in the queue. So the lines are officially open. I'm going to throw the link out here one more time, but we'll bring him in right now. Richard Rush, my man, the myth, the legend, the beard. Everybody calls you the beard when you pop on. How are you?
A little bit of a beard.
How are you?
Oh, tried to fix my daughter's car, but wound up breaking it. So,
what's wrong with it?
The back brakes.
Oh, it can't be drums. They've got to be discs, right?
It's discs.
Is it a caliper issue? What'd you do?
I was taking the caliper apart, and one of the slides was seized up, and I was loosening it up and twisted it off.
Nice.
So it's stuck inside the caliper. So
that's not great.
I need to see.
Go ahead.
I need to see if I can either heat it up and get it out, or drill it out, or possibly have to replace the whole caliper.
What's the weather like down there in Zanesville, just outside of Zanesville, Ohio?
It is roughly about 30 degrees.
So it
feels like about 28.
So it's summertime down there compared to here. We're about 22, 20. Well, I'm gonna check. Keep going.
It's balmy.
I
was outside. I was laying in the snow. Trying to get that off.
Everybody heard what David Reed said, right? In Pennsylvania, it's 32 degrees in Hamburg right now in Lakeview. So I'm just saying, it's warmer here than it is there. Richard Rush, 400.
I live on the river, so
400 miles south of us, it's warmer here than it is there.
Yeah, I'm down south where the weather gets balmy.
Balmy. I love the ball. Near Berea? Are you near Berea, Ohio? Are you?
Berea's north of me.
North. Wow, that's.
Or wait a minute.
It's got to be east.
Berea's near Cincinnati.
No, Berea is out east, southeast Ohio, on the river.
I'm not sure.
It's towards Cleveland.
It's toward Cleveland. It's further north.
Then I'm not thinking of Berea. What am I thinking of? We're totally rabbit trailing here. I'm thinking of. Let's do this. I'm going to look at a map of Ohio and tell you the town that I'm thinking of because it's been a minute since I've been there. But in the meantime,
Lancaster?
No. I used to live in Lancaster. Tell me, what are you looking for? What are you expecting, I should say, from this football game?
I'm expecting Josh to come out firing. I think that Brian DeBall will get him going early.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to get into a rhythm, and he's going to do what he does against Robert Saleh's defenses, and that's going to be move the ball and score points.
I like it. And I'm Googling right now, and I don't know why I can't find what I'm looking for. So I've been to Gallipolis. I mean, I used to live in Ohio, right? I'm looking for the town that is on the river, and I just can't seem to find the town that I was thinking of. That's apparently not Berea, but oh well, it is what it is. So
which river?
The Ohio River that's down there. That's the southern border of Ohio. The borders West Virginia, which is where you're talking about, right?
Well, I'm in southeastern Ohio. I'm about an hour just south and slightly east from Columbus.
Right. Yeah. And I lived in Columbus. So I lived in Lancaster, like I said, for about a year or so. And I've been in Lancaster a bunch. But so as far as this, do you feel what is your take, Richard, is after everything that you've heard this week, all of us content creators, because you pay attention to all of us, all of the takes from us as far as Josh Allen, this football team, the Falcons game. Where are you at on Josh Allen coming off of that game into this game? What was the problem last week? What is going to be the correction this week?
I think he was too antsy, trying too hard with his family there. I think he was just.
Sorry, that's a line from Mr. Deeds. When Chesterton Field Bill. Sorry, I had to laugh at that.
It's close to that.
Yeah, exactly. You think he was too antsy?
I think he was.
Yeah.
I think he knows he needs to tone it down a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah. I just don't know why he gets into those fits. I don't know what's in his mind or in his head when he starts blistering the football at people for absolutely no reason. I've said it on a couple shows. The pass to Gabe Davis needed to be a frozen rope. It was between two defenders right on his shoulders. A lot of those other balls, Diggs was wide open in the end zone. He didn't have to throw a laser at him. He could have literally just put some touch on it and hit him, right?
And he about ripped 2 or 3 of Diggs's fingers off.
Right.
I mean, Diggs come up going, "What was that?"
Right, for sure. What do you got for a Josh Allen stat line in this football game?
I think he's going to be right about his normal. I think he's going to have right around 65% completions for, let's say, about 265 or 270, a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
Going a little more modest. If I throw out the 350 and 4 touchdowns and runs for 2, and it tends to be a bad showing.
Gotcha. I think I was thinking of Belpre, Ohio, by the way, not Berea. Belpre, same B, different word altogether. Sorry about that. So, are you near Belpre?
No, that's south of me. I do know that. I'm on the Muskingum River, which
nice.
goes down into the Ohio River.
Gotcha. Final score prediction from you, Richard Rush. What do you think is going to happen in this football game? Obviously, you've got the Bills winning.
I obviously have the Bills winning. I think it's going to be right around. I have 28-13.
It's not bad. I'll take that. I'll take that all day. Anytime that it's a multiple possession game. That's the funny thing about this year is the amount of multiple possession wins the Bills have had. Now, they've not played a lot of, there's been a lot of bad teams, been a lot of bad quarterbacks, backups, obviously Mike White, guys like that they haven't played. But the margin of victories for the Bills this year have been pretty tremendous. And I'd like to see more of that. What I need to see more of is even more so than that is the amount of one-score games that they've lost by. Their inability to come from behind this year to close out a game like they did last year, and even in 19 a little bit. They were a little bit better. Josh Allen coming into 20 had a bunch of comebacks where he had led his team back, for victories, or led his team back and got a score, and then the defense let up or something like that. But it's going to be interesting. Where are you going to be watching? You watching this game at home tomorrow? Where are you going to be watching this game from?
Yeah, I'll be watching it at home.
Yeah, and then
my lucky seat with my lucky shirt on, and
we already know what shirt I'm going to be wearing tomorrow.
The Boho Mojo.
And who do you got first round of the playoffs? Do you think we got the Patriots?
I think we got the Patriots. A lot of people saying the Colts. I've seen some people say that they think we're going to wind up with, which some people said Las Vegas. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure. I think that
Vegas has to win. Vegas has to win for that to even happen. So
if you get on the simulator, whichever team wins is the team it's going to be in. So it's either going to be the Chargers or the Raiders. And
right. Because the Colts are probably not losing to the Jaguars.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I think we're the only team that was any good that actually lost home, which is still
not great. Not
embarrassing.
Great. Awesome. Well, brother, you enjoy this football game tomorrow. Richard Rush, you are the man, as always, much like everybody else been on tonight. I appreciate you just being a part of the show and all the shows and always being in the comment section. And you're one of our moderators, so thank you for that too. So you're the man. You enjoy this football game tomorrow, and I'll talk to you in the post-game show at 9:00.
Absolutely.
Later, brother. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Talk to you soon. So the queue is open. I'm going to throw this link up here one more time, and I'm going to talk for just a second about the playoffs. And if I don't get anybody else, then we're going to shut the show down a little bit early this evening. But it's interesting to me because when I look at the playoff picture and the teams that are in it, it's hard for me, as I was saying before, who do you want to face? Who do you not want to face? I could come up with an argument for almost every single team on who I'd want to face. I could come up with an argument on almost every single team on who I don't want to face. It's a really to say that the teams are compact, condensed, or closely matched is an understatement. You're talking about a playoff picture, right? Where if this weekend had the Chiefs lost, the Bills could have moved from the 4 seed to the 2 seed. They can also move down to like the 6 seed, depending on what happens this weekend, which is pretty incredible when you think about parity and all that kind of stuff. Not to mention a situation where all the teams at the top, the Titans, the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, all of them have been beaten by garbage football teams this year. It's been a very strange year, and I love this question from Jason Taylor. Who wants to face the Bills? Nobody's even having this conversation. Do you think there's teams out there? That's a great question. Do you think that there's teams out there that are like, man, we really don't want to face Buffalo? Probably the high-flying teams. So probably the teams like the Chiefs, maybe the Bengals, because the Bills have the number one pass defense in the league by a lot. They are, without a doubt, the number one pass defense in the league, where they don't give up long passes to teams at all. So teams that rely upon that probably don't want to face the Bills, whereas the Bills are not as great against the run. They're not bad, but they're not great. So a team like the Colts are probably like, let's get the Bills. Can we get the Bills? How do we get the Bills in this queue? The Patriots probably would rather play us than a dominant run defense. The Chiefs probably are like, nah, let's not do that. Like, let's stay away from the Buffalo Bills, at least in the first round. Not that we're going to, but I guess if the Bills lose tomorrow, there's a good chance they could play the Chiefs. But it's an interesting question. Who wants to play the Bills? I don't even know, but who do we want to play? It's almost like a pick your poison. Legitimately like a pick your poison. Regardless of any of that, we're going to find out, and we're going to find out soon enough. This football game is at 4:25 tomorrow. I'm going to be enjoying this football game with McKenna sitting next to me on the couch. Looking forward to the playoffs and looking forward to putting this 2021 season behind us, and wholly looking forward towards the offseason in 2020. Well, the postseason, then the offseason in 2022. But with that, I just want to wrap this thing up. You are, or have been, I should say, are tuned into the overreaction. Listen to me. I'm already ahead of myself. You've been tuned into the Bills Mafia Time to Shine show here on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. Man, so many of you sticking around. So many of you are just in the chat, and just it's good to see every single one of you guys. Thank you so much. Last game of the season. Thank you for sticking it out and hanging out with me all year long, not only here, but on the Overreaction show tomorrow night, Monday night, or I should say tomorrow night, Sunday nights, 9 p.m., which we'll have that again tomorrow. And then obviously the Off Tackle with John Fina show, Monday night, 9 o'clock. Code of Conduct, 9 o'clock with Jay Spence the King. Wednesday, the Hump Day Hotline, 9 o'clock with me and Jay Spence. And then Food for Thought with Bruce Nolan and Nate Geary at 9 o'clock on Fridays. But coming up here in about 11 minutes, 8 minutes. Don't go anywhere, because coming up right after this show is the Chop Up with Jay Spence. And I don't know who's with him tonight. Normally it's Kristen Kimmick, Angelina, and Sturls. But I know that sometimes they do a little bit of a round table there and bring in some different guests. But if you've got nothing going on, let's be honest, the Cowboys-Eagles isn't exactly I don't know. That's not a game that I can't wait to get home to watch. So put the game on the television, just like Pamela was doing there with Aaron and Kathleen. Put the game on the television, turn the volume down, and listen to Jay Spence and the Chop Up here in about 6 or 7 minutes. But Joe Miller, find me on Twitter at Joe Miller Wired. Good to have you guys with me. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Enjoy this football game tomorrow. Go Bills. I look forward to seeing every single one of you tomorrow after the game, 9 p.m. live, right here, live on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network. Go Bills.